Namaste. Now we'll be dealing with another very important aspect of the Bharatiya lifestyle and Bharatiya Jivan. It is the samskaras. Samskaras are something that is constantly at different times of life it is given to a person or an individual, so that the person over a period becomes samskari. What is this word samskari? Samskari is usually associated with in an English word called cultured, but it is not cultured. It is much above cultured. A cultured person is doing something out of force, or maybe because of some maybe a social stigma or something like that. Whereas samskara is infused in such a way that it becomes second nature of the person. It is not like forced upon a person. It becomes nature, like our own nature. So the samskara is like, for example, let me tell you one thing. The moment we see elders in Bharat across India, there is a culture like the moment we see people, elders, we fall at their feet, or at least we make an attempt to touch their feet. This is a particular samskara that is there in most of our people in across Bharat. That is because we consider elders as people who have more knowledge and experience than us. So this is one of the effects of samskara. It is not a samskara, it is an effect that is coming out of samskara. And like another thing, for example, when we in the morning, you can see many places in small villages, small towns and all, when we go, there are people who are honoring and respecting trees and plants. It might look a little bit foolish for many people when they look from outside, but this is also an effect of some of the samskaras that are happening. What happens when you are honoring and respecting trees and plants? You don't treat them in a bad way, like you just don't chop them off and throw them away. You develop another kind of a relationship with that particular tree or plants, and then you are honoring it, respecting it, and allowing it to survive along with you. Thus, actually you are seeing that the environment is properly conserved. So these are all effects of samskaras, and these samskaras are given to a human being from the beginning to the end. Like even after death, there are some samskaras which are done by the people who survive the person who has died. So samskaras begin from before birth and they finish after death. Why? Because in Bharat we believe in punarjanma, punarjanma, punarjanma. Like you keep on coming more and more often on this planet Earth to enjoy the fun on this planet Earth. It doesn't end with one death, or it doesn't begin with one birth. It keeps on happening, it keeps on repeating. So these samskaras are before birth as well as after death. So let's understand these samskaras. Very beautiful it is. See, basically the samskaras are not initiations into some religious dogma or initiation into some religious practices. They are some kind of an initiation into leading a dharmic lifestyle. When I say a dharmic lifestyle, as we have already discussed what dharma is, it stands for those 24 values. So the practice of these samskaras are complementary to imbibing those 24 values in yourself. So when we conduct these samskaras over a period of time, the values have become like our own nature. Actually these values are existing inside us. They are not something that is outside. Only thing is our mind, intellect, memory, ego and all our other vyavahara, the outside world, with the outside world, are maybe just covering up these values which are inside, like ash, covering the burning charcoal. So when we do these samskaras, and when we celebrate each festival every year, what we are actually doing is removing the ash and the real nature comes out. So the samskaras are actually to bring out the real nature inside us, not to enforce something from outside. Let's understand this, to bring out the real nature inside us. So what are these samskaras and how many samskaras are there? Many people talk about Shodasha samskaras, that is 16 sanskar, 16 samskaras. But in my research and with my interaction with many people across India, across Bharat, I have found out that there are not just 16 samskaras, there are up to 49 samskaras, and in many cases up to 54 samskaras. Why this many number of samskaras? Because every year, every day, every year you need to have something or the other that is, helping you to go closer to your real nature, and that is why these samskaras are there. So many samskaras have been formed. Let's classify these samskaras now. What are the classifications? The samskaras are before birth, prenatal, or whatever you may call it, prenatal samskaras, then birth and just immediately after birth, postnatal samskaras, which are done, some of them are there, and some of the samskaras are educational samskaras. And then after the educational samskara, we have some samskaras like the Vivaha samskara. Though we call it as Vivaha samskara, it's a very, 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 very highly evolved kind of a samskara it is. In Bharat, marriage or Vivaha was not just two people coming together to live for a life. No, it was the whole families on either side, everybody, the maternal uncles, paternal uncles, the grandfathers, great grandfather, both the sides, paternal grandfather, maternal grandfather on both sides. There are children, there are elders, there are peers, there are everybody. The whole family is on both sides are going to come together to live forever. It is not just the husband and wife who are going to live together, it's a whole family, everybody are coming. That is why it used to be a huge affair where all the closest relatives as well as the close friends, everybody would gather together to conduct a Vivaha samskara. And inside the Vivaha samskara, there are close to 52 different samskaras and it runs over a period of 7 days. Our Bharatiya Vivaha samskara is something that happens over a period of 7 days, and I have also seen one of the Vivaha samskara which ran for 15 days. So that many number of days, the families from both the bride and the bridegroom side are coming together to be together and celebrate, and they are interacting, they are knowing each other. Why? Because from there another new life is going to happen for the whole family together. So this is one of the samskaras. Like this we have after the Vivaha samskara, we have some more. After the Vivaha samskara, the people who are married, grihasthas, are supposed to conduct minimum of 21 yagnas. And these 21 yagnas, this is just like, I'm just giving you one small tip of the iceberg of the number of yagnas that are there. These 21 yagnas were compulsory for all grihasthas, and they are 7 Paka yagnas, 7 Havir yagnas, and 7 Soma yagnas. So 21 yagnas, if you do one yagna in a year, that's all you can do. You can't do more than that. 21 years of your life, you will be as married as a couple, 21 years you would have done 21 yagnas. That is the minimum. Other than that, there are other yagnas which are not part of these 21 yagnas. There are some more yagnas which are out of these 21 yagnas, and these yagnas, if you take together, there are close to 108 yagnas and homas, which I have heard of at least. So these 21 yagnas are compulsory, you have to do them. Other than this, there are 5 Pancha Mahayagnas which have to be done every day. And what are these Pancha Mahayagnas? 1, you have to feed another human being. You are not somebody from your family, but somebody outside your family, you have to feed one person. You have to feed a cow, you have to feed a dog, you have to feed a bird, and you have to feed insects. So these are called as 5 Mahayagnas. So however people doing this, anyways, every day there would be some guest or the other coming home. So feeding a guest was compulsory. So one person would be fed every day other than your own family. Then at least one, that is I'm talking about. There might be sometimes 10, 15 also, more the merrier. So that is why we used to call Atithi Devo Bhava. Whoever comes as a guest is like God. We have to feed that person like God. So feeding one person. Then feeding a cow. Every household used to have 3 to 4 cows. And feeding the cow was very much necessary. You have to take care of the cow because the cow takes care of you. Then feeding a dog. The dog has got many other things, like not just the protecting the house. The dog has got a lot of other things which are a part of the ecological chain. So we have to keep a dog and feed a dog also. Then feeding, it can be even a cat, okay, not just a dog, it can be feeding a cat also. Other than the cow, you need to have one more pet at home, okay. And then next, feeding a bird. Usually what they will do is the first rice or the first roti that is made at home is taken and put on top of the house, on top of the terrace. And why this is done? It is usually something, the food that is left for the bird. Maybe a crow will eat it, or maybe a sparrow will eat it, or a dove or something. Some bird will come and eat it. So feeding a bird. And feeding an insect. How our people used to feed insects? They used to put rangoli every day in front of their house using either wheat flour or rice flour. This wheat flour or rice flour rangoli which is put outside is basically food for the insects. So like that, every day these Pancha Mahayagnas were also supposed to be done. So like this, we have close to 49 to 54 samskaras which are done throughout a lifetime. And then after this, there is what is called as a Shashtabdi, which is done as the 60th year. Then there is 80th year celebration. Then afterwards, somewhere close to 81, 82 years, there is something called as Sahasra Chandra Darshana, where a human being would have seen a minimum of 1008 full moons. If you have achieved, say, if you have reached 81 to 82 years, you would have seen 1008 full moons. So Sahasra Chandra Darshana is one. And then there is what is known as Kanakabhisheka, which is done at 100th year. Kanakabhisheka is something where the person who has completed 100 years is made to sit on a particular jhula, and people will bathe him with literally golden petals. Petals, small petals made of gold, they are put on him, like he is made to bathe on that. That is why it is called Kanakabhisheka. So some of these samskaras are like optional. They can be done, or it need not be done also. If required, they can be done. If not required, they can be skipped also. Then there is what is the post-death samskaras, Antyeshti. You see, Eshti also means yagna. So Antyeshti is a yagna that is done after the death of a human being. Now who is authorized to do this? Maybe his son, or in many cases where the son is not available or son is not there, it can be even done by the son-in-law, or in some cases even the daughter has executed this. It is not that women were not allowed to do these samskaras. Yes, in between, because of lot of restrictions and lot of assaults on our culture and traditions, we went into a conservative mode, and then many of these samskaras were given only to the male member. But it was not so. About 200-300 years back, there was this time when even women and girls were allowed. As a matter of fact, for the girls, there are 2-3 more extra samskaras. The one which is done just before the girl matures and gets into puberty, and the one which is done at the time of puberty, and the third one is after the woman completes puberty and gets into stops menstruating. So this is done on Rishu Panchami. that comes the one day after Ganesha festival, Ganpati festival, that is after Ganesh Chaturthi, the next day is called Rishi Panchami. So all the women who stop menstruating during that year will have to celebrate, keep a vrata on Rishi Panchami and celebrate Rishi Panchami. So these festivals were these were extra samskaras which are allowed for a woman. So you can say that women used to have 54 samskaras, men used to have only 49 samskaras. The more samskaras were with women, and probably that is one of the reasons why our women are much more samskari than men. We have more samskari women in India than samskari men, because that sanskara is very natural. Sometimes I feel, the women who wear saris have retained many of our cultural as well as our traditional aspects. Samskaras, the Sanskriti and the parampara has been retained by the women who wear saris than the men who wear pants. Because they have forgotten most of the things, whereas the women are still remembering it. That's because they are the ones who are associated with most of these samskaras, and they are many of them major samskaras. The women take the most important role. For example, even in Upanayana samskara, the mother is more important, and the mother's family is very, very important in the Upanayana sanskara. So like this, there are many people who are, who are authorized to do these samskaras, and each sanskara is such a beautiful thing. And these samskaras are actually socio-economical activity. Why? They are so beautiful. You must have heard in one of my previous talks, I have given the example of a childbirth. 7 to 8 different women are required just to conduct a childbirth. Similarly, 12 to 15 different communities or jatis are required to conduct one Upanayanam, and about 54 jatis are required to conduct a shadi, a vivaha samskara. The vivaha samskara requires 54 various artisanal communities, various jatis. So each sanskara is an opportunity of give and take. Like it is proffering and receiving is done during each samskara with various jatis, various artisanal communities. And this, the festivals and the samskaras, forms the major economic activity, socio-economic activity of Bharat, which I will get into more detailed when I deal with the samskaras in my workshops on samskaras. Maybe when you attend a full workshop on the samskaras, which will take at least 2 full days. Like I need at least 8 plus 8, 16 to 20 hours to explain the whole thing, and those 20 hours can be spread over a week or maybe even over 2 weekend days. And in those workshops you can come and get into more details about these samskaras. This is just a small introduction to the world of samskaras.